Hi there. My name is Juji. Welcome to my channel. I'm so excited for you to be here. This is a space for anyone and everyone who's looking to explore personal development and relationships through the human design lens. Today, I'm going to be talking about a couple who caused quite a bit of controversy back in their time, John Lennon and Yoko Ono. Now, one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about this is because I love John Lennon. He was always my favorite Beatle. His birthday is the day after mine, and I lived in New York City for many years, and every year on my birthday, there was a memorial article about John in the newspaper that I was reading on my way to work on the subway. So I associated my birthday with John Lennon a little bit. So one of the other reasons why I love this subject is because I studied art and Yoko Ono is a renowned artist. In fact, they met because he went to a gallery opening of hers, and she was a very existential artist. So the story goes that there was an art piece in this opening show that she was having where you had to climb up to the top of a ladder, and on top of the ladder, there was a microscope, and there was a word that was so teeny, teeny, tiny on the ceiling that you needed the microscope to be able to read it. And the word was yes. And John just loved this so much. He said he absolutely had to meet the woman responsible for creating this art piece. And they met there, became inseparable. And then people accused her of being the reason the Beatles broke up. And, you know, no matter what camp you're in, it seems a little bit cuckoo to accuse somebody of something so major. So let's take a look at their charts and see what was really going on behind the scenes. All right, so this is John Lennon's chart. He was a 2-4 single definition emotional generator. And as you can see, he only has one channel here. He only has the channel 59-6, which is the channel of mating. And something that I really want to say about this channel is that it is very sensitive. It is an intimate chemistry that this person puts out and takes in. This is the only channel in the chart that both puts out emotionality and takes it in. And something that I associate with this channel is that these people see all relationships as intimate. So there's a bit of an extreme there in the sense that you're either in or you're out. So keep that in mind, and now I'll show you Yoko's chart. So this is Yoko Ono. She's a 6-2 triple split emotional manifesting generator. I actually believe that this is the first couple that I've looked at so far who has had the same authority and who were both generator aura types. So right there, you can see that they're well matched in that sense. And triple splits and split definition people have more in common in the sense that they aren't necessarily seeking personal connections in order to feel whole within themselves. Single definition people feel whole within themselves already, and triple splits are looking for impersonal connections, meaning they need to be out in public, in crowds, to be able to get connected within themselves, but they're not necessarily seeking that on a personal level. So both of these people are emotionally defined, and yet they were very quick to jump into a relationship together. And this is what that looks like. All right, so this is John and Yoko together. And as you can see, they are 9 and 0, meaning all 9 of their centers are defined together. And this creates kind of an insulation for people who are in a relationship together. They remain split definition together, so he doesn't connect all of her splits, which is actually pretty useful in the sense that Yoko is able to explore connections with other people outside of the relationship. There's still places that she needs extra help getting connected. And this can be really useful for couples, or it can be really disturbing. So again, they became inseparable. She came to the studio with him all the time. And that's when supposedly the drama started. Let's talk about that a little bit more. So I actually watched a documentary on the Beatles not that long ago, and they were interviewing all of the different members from around the time of the breakup. And here's the thing. Nobody really seemed to mind that Yoko was around. It wasn't like they made it out to be this like, you know, it was easy for the public to blame her for why the Beatles were breaking up. But when you look below the surface, there's something very important to notice, which is that John Lennon and Paul McCartney were both going through their Saturn return around the time that the band dispersed. And that has nothing to do with what our minds think is going on. It's true that John is a 2-4 and not a 6-2, so it may seem to us like it's not that big of a deal that he was going through his Saturn return. But in fact, everybody has a big internal shift around 30. And so it's not really a surprise to me that he wanted to go his own way, that he wanted to create art for the sake of art's sake. He's a 2, he's a hermit. He is here to do what he loves and nothing else. And once you start doing certain things for money, it may lose its luster. Creative people are not here to be creative at gunpoint. And he may have started to feel like that's what was going on. And because Yoko was the one encouraging him to create the kind of music that he wanted to create, she was seen as the bad guy. She was seen as this person who was trying to isolate him away from everybody else. But that really intimate 59-6 chemistry probably did that itself, because like I said, you're either in or you're out. And if anybody he perceives as trying to keep him away from the woman he loves, the thing he wants to do, that's not going to fly. I've actually seen firsthand what a 59-6 can do when they feel that their intimacy is being threatened. And it's not pretty. The interesting example that I can give you is Will Smith. I know, what does John Lennon have to do with Will Smith? Will Smith is also a 59-6 only. And I remember when we watched him, get up at the Oscars and display physical violence on television, everybody was so shocked. And when I saw his chart, I wasn't that shocked. In fact, John Lennon has been known to be kind of a mean drunk, and he could also get violent with people, not apparently ever with Yoko, but there was definitely some brutality going on behind the scenes. And I would say that that has a lot to do with how open he is in his chart, because when you're filtering that much and you have this very sensitive channel taking in and putting out emotionality and you're not aware of what's going on, it's easy to try to numb yourself out and then get really sort of out of control in that space, because that's what alcohol does. It, allows yourself to act out in ways that you don't allow yourself normally. And if you have a lot of pent up frustration as a generator, if you feel like your emotionality has been being shut down for a long time, I can see how that would be how you blow off steam. Something that somebody pointed out to me when I said I was going to do this video, because again, this was a request. I'm so excited that people are requesting these incredible couples. My husband said to me, didn't you know that Yoko Ono used to allow John Lennon to have mistresses? In fact, she picked them for him. And I said, well, different strokes for different folks. We're not here to judge how their marriage was able to survive until he actually passed away. And I'm pretty sure she still lives in the same apartment they shared in the Dakota on the Upper West Side of New York City. So, you know, I know that her love for him remains. And I would say that it was not lost on her that she was married to the most famous rock star on the planet. Now, she has the channel 4037 in her chart. This is what makes her an emotional authority. And the 4037 is the channel of community, but what it's really about is the bargain. And I believe that she was a very smart woman. She understood that he was going to have women throwing themselves at him, regardless of whether or not he was so publicly in love with somebody else. And so she figured it was a better bargain if she got to control the situation instead of trying to fight the wave, if you will. So I can see why that actually helped them hold the marriage together. I'm sure she wasn't thrilled by it, just like, you know, no, I don't believe any woman would be, but, you know, this was her way of keeping him in this very unusual situation. I do want to point this out, actually. I do chart analysis for people who are famous, who are in the public eye, who have had a certain kind of lifestyle for a very long time. They don't necessarily live by the same rules as you and I. So even though I'm analyzing their charts and even though I'm looking at their relationships through this lens, we have to see that their behavior is not necessarily going to mirror our own. I just want to wrap this up by analyzing the 5 electromagnetics that they share together. So they have this channel of transformation, the 5432 from the root to the spleen. And I would say that anytime somebody has a splenic connection, it definitely feels good to be in that person's aura. In fact, I feel like this connection specifically points to why John was so enamored with her so immediately, because he felt this connection to her that was safety. It was security in a way that he may have not felt before. And as someone, again, who's so open, this was probably a major selling point, as well as having the spleen to the ego connection through the 2644. So they even had 3 splenic connections in this chart because they also have the 57 connected to her 20 and 34. So it's just all roads lead to the spleen with them. It's all about security. It's all about feeling good in each other's aura. And they clearly didn't want to let that go. You know, they were inseparable. She went everywhere with him. They were photographed to death when they started their relationship. They did the bed in together. They had, you know, these political, humanitarian projects that they did together. I really can see how these 2 emotional beings were just like magnets to one another. And even if there was some like questionable behavior here and there, it still felt better to be together than apart. You know, that's kind of how you get addicted to somebody. Not to say that there was unhealthy codependence there. I don't know. If anybody knows anything about that, I'd love to read that in the comments, because, you know, as much as I love pop culture and as much as I enjoy watching documentaries, I feel like there's always more to know underneath the surface. And that's why I love human design so much. All right, guys, I think that's a really good place to wrap this up. If you liked this video, please press the thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Please comment below also if you want to have a reading done for another celebrity couple. I love getting those. If you have any questions or comments on this video, I'd also love to read those. You can also follow me on Instagram at HDbyZ and find me on my website. The link will be in the show notes. There you'll see that I offer human design readings, a relationship mentorship program, and a community for conscious women called the Beehive who are practicing strategy and authority in their everyday lives. Would you like to receive a reading with me about your relationship, or would you like to know about your human design just for yourself? Feel free to book a Zoom call appointment on my website. Until then, ciao for now.